Okay, guys, I had to restart the stream over. I have no idea what was going on, but I am back. I hope everybody is doing well. Moving forward, we will always start at 10:30 or just a little bit after 10:30. Like I said, I was having some issues with StreamYard. I kept having to delete the stream, and then when I started the stream, it said that it wasn't recording. So it was a whole bunch of stuff going on. But we talked about yesterday about the ICE officer who unalived the lady. Her name is Renee. We kind of went over that. But what we want to get in today, we kind of touched on it yesterday, but I'm only streaming for an hour. One of the things that we touched on is accountability, not saying that, Renee should have been, where she was. Possibly she was, I don't know if she was following those people around, who knows. But one thing that is for sure is the lady shouldn't be dead. Okay. If she was breaking the law, arrest her. Okay. You cannot fire through a window. You're standing off to the side. And then they also said that this officer had been in some shit before with somebody else. So something just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. But one of the things, y'all, that we got to understand is we are not safe. We ain't safe. We are not safe. Because what it seems like is if you are a Democrat, it's like unalive their asses, okay? But if you're a Republican, it's something different. And that's a very dangerous place to be, because people should not be unalive because of their political stands. I mean, I have know people, close people that voted for Donald Trump. Now, as much as that boils the hell out of my blood, and as much as I probably went off on their asses, it's their personal preference. If they want to vote for whoever, let them do it. But at the end of the day, people should not be executed because they believe one way or another. I mean, we should all be able to exercise our own individual political beliefs without fear of retribution. And it seems like that is what we're starting to see in the world, okay? We're starting to see this president, Donald Trump, who don't care about anybody who is not for him. And that is just not the way that we operate as a country. That is why people come to the United States, because they want to be free. They don't want to feel the pressures of, if they feel a certain way or vote for a political party, that they're going to be, that they're going to face some type of retribution. And unfortunately, it seems like
That is where we are as a country. We have a president who does not want to be held, accountable for his actions. And it is what it is. And listen, if y'all think that I'm, one of those people that just hate Republicans, I really don't hate nobody. I'm just speaking the facts. And we can talk about Sleepy Joe. Let's talk about Sleepy Joe, because I know some people are gonna be in the chat thinking that this is, because he's a Republican. Sleepy Joe was definitely sleeping. Okay, let's just talk about it. But one thing that we didn't have to worry about when Sleepy Joe was here, we didn't have to worry about people getting snatched out of their damn houses and their door kicked in. Imagine being in your dang on bed sleep and somebody is kicking in your door. Now, if you got a pow pow, you should go get it, okay? But imagine somebody kicking in your door only to find out that it is the United States government. ICE was not meant to be used against us. That is not what they're that is not what they're supposed to be doing, snatching people out their beds, okay? People in the faces. We are not safe as a country. We ain't safe. Now, if y'all think that you safe, let me know what you think in the chat, because honey, I feel that I'm not even safe and I am a citizen. So let's kind of get into some of this. Now, one of the things that I want to speak about, like I said, yesterday we talked about no accountability. Now, this has gotten worse, because when I say no accountability, they have went as so far as to set a GoFundMe up for the officer. Guys, he just received license to KILL. Every ICE officer in this country, they now receive license to KILL. Because imagine working a regular job, punching the clock, and now you go and KILL somebody, and now you get, let's just get a quick snapshot of what that GoFundMe looks like. I believe it was somewhere in the 600,000. Okay. Yesterday, this man's GoFundMe was somewhere around $600,000. So imagine you going to work, unaliving somebody, and now you wake up to $600,000. If that's not a license to KILL, I don't know what is. So we are definitely living in some really, really dangerous times, and we're dealing with an administration that takes no accountability. Now, on top of all of that, Bill Ackman, Megyn Kelly supports this guy unaliving this woman, okay? And has ruled it as if it was her fault. I'm not sure how they, conducted all their investigations in such a short time, but let's get into what Secretary Kristi Noem had to say in an interview. Of course, she deflects, she takes no accountability. But one of the things she was asked, guys, in this interview, which really, made me pay attention, is if you guys look at the way the insurrectionists were treated, okay, those individuals tried to KILL a lot of people, okay? Where in the world have you ever saw something like that happen and those people came out, nothing wrong with them? Not only did they do that, they went to prison, and Donald Trump gave those people a blanket pardon. Now, a blanket pardon simply says, let everybody go. So not individual names. Okay, this person, we got to, make sure that they are eligible to be let out. He pardoned every single one of them. So we have a thug in the White House. But let's get into this interview, because I want you guys to see how Kristi Noem responded when asked about, the insurrection. Because what is the comparison that he's making is, okay, so this woman was unalived. Well, what about the insurrectionists? Like, they were let off free, pardoned, let out. And that's not to even mention some of them that reoffended. Some of those, a good number of those people that Donald Trump let out went back to commit more crimes. They were locked back up. So a whole slew of other things. But let's get into what Miss Kristi Noem had to say in this interview on CNN.
Harming them, that they have the authority to arrest those individuals.
The president
make sure
pardoned every single one of those people.
And make sure that they're getting justice for their actions going forward.
President Trump pardoned every single one of those people.
And every single one of these investigations comes in the full context of the situation on the ground. And that's one thing that President Trump has been so focused on, is making sure that when we're out there, we don't pick and choose which situations are and which laws are enforced and which ones aren't. Every single one of them is being enforced under the Trump administration, and the clarity of the law stands. And if people don't like it, these members of Congress and elected officials should go change the law and make sure they have that debate and policy change.
I just showed you video of people attacking law enforcement officers.
Okay, let's do a quick switch here, because the video that he showed, for some reason, it didn't come over, but I have it right here. So again, we're talking about the insurrection, right? With regards to, Donald Trump pretty much letting all of those people off. And it was, some time ago. So let's get into what really happened during this insurrection. And these people, because they were devout Trump supporters, they were let off. Let's get into it.
They're familiar because they've been playing on a loop on every media outlet in America for the last 2 years. There's a reason for that. But it turns out there's quite a bit of video you haven't seen. And that video tells a very different story about what happened on January 6th. More than 40,000 hours of surveillance footage from in and around the Capitol have been withheld from the public. And once you see the video, you'll understand why. Taken as a whole, the video record does not support the claim that January 6th was an insurrection. In fact, it demolishes that claim. And that's exactly why the Democratic Party and its allies in the media prevented you from seeing it. By controlling the images you were allowed to view from January 6th, they controlled how the public understood that day. They could lie about what happened, and you would never know the difference. Those lies had a purpose. They created a pretext for a federal crackdown on opponents of the Uniparty in Washington.
Our office wanted to ensure that there was shock and awe, that we could charge as many people as possible.
The first thing you notice from viewing the full video record of January 6th is just how many people entered the Capitol building that day. Hundreds and hundreds of people, possibly thousands, over the course of about 2 hours. The crowd was enormous. A small percentage of them were hooligans. They committed vandalism. You've seen their pictures again and again. But the overwhelming majority weren't. They were peaceful. They were orderly and meek. These were not insurrectionists. They were sightseers. Footage from inside the Capitol overturns the story you've heard about January 6th. Protest.
Now, I'm just showing you guys the video. We are not following this narrative about these people were peaceful. I just want to reiterate that. We're simply showing you all the video. Of course they were peaceful. Don't they look peaceful to y'all?
Protesters queue up in neat little lines. They give each other tours outside the speaker's office. They take cheerful selfies and they smile. They're not destroying the Capitol. They obviously revere the Capitol. They're there because they believe the election was stolen from them. They believe in the system. Here's the man you've heard referred to as the QAnon shaman outside the Senate chamber. These are not rioters. These are people who wandered over from a political rally.
We will not let them silence your voices.
After the rally, they walked down Pennsylvania Avenue, where organizers had secured a federal permit to hold a legal rally on the grounds of the Capitol.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
Once at the Capitol building, things began to get chaotic. Capitol police officers fired tear gas into the crowd. A few at the front of the herd broke windows. Someone opened the doors, and many hundreds of others just walked in.
We're going to make that the story.
Of course, they did make it the story. And at the center of it, the single most famous person arrested that day was a Navy veteran from Arizona called Jacob Chansley, often referred to as the QAnon shaman.
The so-called QAnon shaman. QAnon shaman.
Someone named Q Shaman.
Jacob Chansley became the face of January 6th, a dangerous conspiracy theorist dressed in outlandish costume who led the violent insurrection to overthrow American democracy. For these crimes, Chansley was sentenced to nearly 4 years in prison, far more time than many violent criminals now receive. What did Jacob Chansley do to receive this punishment? To this day, there is dispute over how Chansley got into the Capitol building. But according to our review of the internal surveillance video, it is very clear what happened once he got inside. Virtually every moment of his time inside the Capitol was caught on tape. The tapes show that Capitol Police never stopped Jacob Chansley. They helped him. They acted as his tour guides. Here's video of Chansley in the Senate chamber. Capitol Police officers take him to multiple entrances and even try to open locked doors for him. We counted at least 9 officers who were within touching distance of unarmed Jacob Chansley. Not one of them even tried to slow him down. Chansley understood that Capitol Police were his allies. Video shows him giving thanks for them in a prayer on the floor of the Senate. Watch.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for giving the inspiration needed to these police officers to allow us in this building.
Contrast the reality of what Jacob Chansley did in the Capitol building on January 6th, the indisputable facts recorded on video, some of which has never before been seen, with the depiction of Jacob Chansley that you've seen in the media for more than 2 years. He's a terrorist, they said. He should be killed.
Shoot him. Shoot him. Like, you burst into the United States, if he was dressed like bin Laden, would you have shot him?
Shoot him. Shoot him.
Okay, guys, so I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit overview of what was happening during that insurrection. Okay, we don't want to get too far into that. So let's switch back over to Christie, okay, because this is all about accountability and this administration actually taking accountability for what happened to Renee. Now, when asked Christie about the insurrectionists and, you know, what happened at the White House and why those people were pardoned, instead of contrasting, you know, the two, like, why is it that this lady was a criminal for simply driving away? I mean, it seemed like a heated situation. And also, they were saying that the ICE officials had told her to move. And finally, she moved. But then when she moved, she was pum pum. Okay, so let's kind of get into that and let's listen to Christie's lies. Okay.
Undisputed proof, undisputed evidence. And I just said President Trump pardoned all of them. And you said that President Trump is enforcing all the laws equally. It's just not true. There's a different standard for law enforcement officials being attacked if they're being attacked by Trump supporters. We just saw that.
This individual and these instances and these investigations all have to be taken and done correctly in context of every situation that is happening on the ground. So what we are doing today as the Department of Homeland Security is out there with our law enforcement officers, making sure that we're targeting the worst of the worst and that we're talking factually about each situation and making sure that we're bringing those perpetuators of violence.
Okay, enough of the BS. As you guys can see, no accountability. This lady just talks in circles and spews lies after lies after lies after lies. Again, we ain't safe as citizens of the United States. We ain't safe, okay? Practically at this point, the United States is a damn joke. Everybody is laughing at us. Everybody is laughing at us. So she takes absolutely no accountability. And lawmakers, they're pretty much questioning her handling of the ICE-related shooting. And this is, let's just tell y'all who it is. Republicans, because I know, you know, sometimes people seem to think that it's the, you know, the Republicans against the Democrats and the Democrats against the Republicans. Some people just want things to function properly. It's not, you know, people can support whatever they want to support. But Republicans on Capitol Hill are expressing their skepticism over Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem's handling of the Trump administration's response to an Immigration, Customs and Enforcement ICE officer fatally unaliving a woman. Now, Noem has said was committing an act of domestic terrorism. So we're still trying to figure out What was the act of domestic terrorism? Now, what we do know is that Nome responded very shortly after this incident happened. Like, what happened to the investigation? How do you call this woman a domestic terrorist right after this happened? Okay. Nome's hasty character, the way she characterized this shooting as an entirely justified use of federal force against a woman who weaponized allegedly her vehicle, has raised questions on Capitol Hill. And people they're not buying it. It was very unusual to have a senior, remember, the lady is supposed to be the head, okay, of something, a senior law enforcement official to draw a conclusion about an event where the scene was still being processed. Now, that's all we're saying, lady. How are you drawing a conclusion, wrapping this shit up, basically telling us who was at fault when you have not yet conducted the investigation? This is tacky and it is very much unprofessional. Like, are you serious right now? So she's just making up shit as she goes along. So she has pretty much made it seem as if, you know, the investigation has been conducted, and not really. I believe that she gave the president advice, and I hope she's right. But generally speaking, law enforcement would recognize that a life was lost, that families are changed forever. The shooter's life will change forever. We're collecting video. We're trying to assess the situation. So instead of making this hasty decision to say that this woman was a domestic terrorism, what happened to the investigation? And why are they not saying, you know, a life was lost, yada, yada. We sympathize with the family, but to come out and say this ridiculous stuff makes this country and us look like a bunch of freaking fools, okay? So unless she has a lot of information that she's not sharing and it's going to be revealed soon, what really is going on, okay? So they are calling on this woman's credentials and basically saying the way that she's handling this is tacky. But I mean, are you surprised? This is the Donald Trump's administration. This is what we've been given this entire time. You know, haven't been provided with the most accurate information. Now, yesterday on my video, we went over, and there is a video, and I believe it was like 3 minutes, and it showed Renee actually, it looks like she was blocking vehicles from going past. So we kind of figured that out, right? So we were able to see that video, and it seems like this was a retaliatory action, because what they are saying is that she was there, wouldn't leave. We get that because we're able to see the video. But why did this lady have to lose her life? Okay, connect the dots. Connect the dots for us. It's just not adding up. So again, we have this administration lying and covering up for, you know, the stuff that they're doing. Now, one other thing, they have, I'm not sure who set it up, but there is a GoFundMe for this officer. And let's see something. I'm going to actually, let me see if I can check to see where the donations are now. But there is a GoFundMe, and I know it was probably in the 600,000s. Let me just find it again, because we can just look at it right now to see how much the fundraiser has. So let's see. Which is crazy. I mean, you take the life of somebody and you start you a GoFundMe. Yeah, we are living in definitely unsafe times. So let's see if I can look for it. Let's see here. The officer unalives this woman and starts his own GoFundMe. We cannot make this stuff up. We cannot make it up. Let's see here. Just give me a second. I'm just going to log in here and see. Oh boy, do you need a GoFundMe account? Let me just, oh, I'm not gonna. All right, let's see. GoFundMe. Let me see if I can click on this. It probably will take me to, oh, I got it. So I'm gonna share my screen because this is just a mess. This is a mess. Let's get into it. I'm gonna share my screen because I want you guys to see this. You got people out here starving, don't got a job. Let's look at this. $619,674. So this right here, guys, this is some dangerous shit. This is a license to KILL because guess what? All you got to do, you work here for this administration, you just go unalive a Democrat and you're fine. So as you guys can see here, William Ackman, $10,000 donation. $10,000 donation. Isn't that something? Now, for those of you who may not know who William Ackman is, he is a prominent American billionaire, hedge fund manager known as the founder and CEO of Pershing Square Capital Management, a firm famous for activists investing in large companies like Chipotle, Uber, and for high-profile campaigns, including a successful bet against Herbalife and leading the charge against Harvard's president. So that is who he is. Look at this, y'all. Look at this. 619,000. Wow. So this is what they say. After seeing all the media BS about a domestic terrorist getting GoFundMe, I feel that the officer that was 1,000% justified in the unalive and deserves to have a GoFundMe. What does he need to have a GoFundMe for? I'm confused. A GoFundMe. Look at this. Let me see if you guys can see mine. Yeah, you can see it. Okay. Look at this. Look at this here. Well, I'm not going to say unbelievable because this is the hate that this president that unfortunately people elected, or he stole it. However, these people are sending this man money. Okay. Look at this. License to kill. Look at this. This is the world that we live in. Unbelievable. This is what you get in America for being a piece of shit. 600. So, I mean, I don't even know what to say. Like, I am literally speechless. I am literally speechless. I don't even know what to say. It's just donations after donations after donations. So this right here is an example of the hate that we have in this world. This is an example of the hate that Donald Trump has festered. Now people feel justified in being hateful. People feel justified in being nasty. This is crazy. Like, this is unbelievable. I'm just not understanding why you, sir, that took someone's life feels justified in you doing a GoFundMe. Tell me, how does this make any sense? How does this make sense, y'all? Somebody let me know in the chat because I'm very, very confused. This is unbelievable. $619,000. Y'all make it make sense. I am so confused right now. This is the hate and the vitriol that is placed in this country right now. We ain't safe anymore. We are, unfortunately, under a president that we know he don't like minorities and Black people, but to reward hate to this magnitude, where people start to set up a GoFundMe for a murderer. Okay, let's be clear. This is what this man is. Okay, now let's switch gears just a bit, because what I'm learning is this was ultimately created because we know that Renee's family created one for her. Rightfully so. She was a mother of 3, I believe they said. I think they said she had 3 children. Let me just make sure, but I believe she does have 3 children. So rightfully so, a GoFundMe, for her would have made a lot of sense. But what I'm learning, and we can go and look up her GoFundMe, I think hers raised about 1.5 million. So it's good to know that, love exists a little bit more than hate, being that she got more money. But y'all, we are in an effed up place here. We are in an effed up place. So the GoFundMe campaign for the family of Renee Good closed at over $1.5 million. So the GoFundMe set up for her is actually closed. I want to see if I can actually click on it. It might let me see it. Okay. Yep. So let's see if you guys can see it. So let me reshare my screen. So, I mean, that's about the only good thing about this is at least, good is rewarded a little bit more, but it's almost as equal. Okay. So she got about $1.5 million. But again, this lady has 3 children. So, I mean, I hope that they would, be able to put some of that money up for her children. But she got the most donations, as you guys can see. Some of them are, I mean, they're low, but if you get a bunch of people to get $10, $9, $5, it all adds up. So it is closed. It says, thank you for your generosity. We've closed this GoFundMe and will place the funds in a trust for the family. If you're looking to donate, we encourage you to support others in need. We're truly grateful. So it looks like they're like, look, we don't even want any more money. Like, we are thankful that y'all gave us the 1.5, because it looks like they were only asking for 50,000 and got 1.5. We'd also like to share the following statement that Renee's wife Becca shared with NPR News. First, I want to extend my gratitude to all the people who have reached out from across the country and around the world to support our family. The kindness of strangers is the most fitting tribute, because if you've ever encountered my wife, Renee Nicole Good, you know that above all else, she was kind. In fact, kindness radiated out of her. Renee sparkled. She literally sparkled. I mean, she didn't wear glitter, but I swear she had sparkles coming out of her pores all the time. You might think it was just my love talking, but her family said the same thing. Renee was made of sunshine. Renee lived by an overarching belief. There is kindness in the world, and we need to do everything we can do to find it where it resides and nurture it where it needs to grow. Renee was a Christian who knew that all religions teach the same, essentially the truth. We are here to love each other, care for each other, and keep each other safe and whole. Like people have done across place and time, we moved to make a better life for ourselves. We chose Minnesota to make our home. Our whole extended road trips here, we held hands in the car while our son drew all over the windows to pass the time and the miles. Now, I'm just reading this, so whatever grammatical errors, I'm just going to read it. What we found when we got here was a vibrant and welcoming community. We made friends and spread joy. And while any place we were together was home, there was a strong shared sense here in Minnesota that we were looking out for each other. Here I had finally found peace and safe harbor that has been taken from me forever. Keep in mind, this is her wife. We were raising our son to believe that no matter where you come from or what you look like, all of us deserve compassion and kindness. Renee lived this belief every day. She is pure joy. She is pure joy. She is pure sunshine. On Wednesday, January 7th, we stopped to support our neighbors. We had whistles. They had GUNS. So I guess that would make sense why they were just in the neighborhood. I think I read somewhere else where they said that they were in the neighborhood monitoring to monitor the the ICE officials. I mean, we have saw this across this country where these ICE officials are terrorizing these damn people. So it seems like what is being reported is that they were there to support their neighbors. Okay, she said we had whistles. Now I have been following some of this situation with ICE, and what I have learned is across the country, I guess the blowing of the whistles is the signal to the neighbors to watch out. Here they come, okay? Here they come. Isn't it amazing how the world just picks up on the things that minority people do? If you guys revert back to slavery, we used to sing songs and, we did things of that nature to let our people know what was going on. So it just reminded me when, she said they were blowing whistles, and they did this across the country. Renee leaves behind 3 extraordinary children. The youngest, y'all, is just 6 years old. So a 6-year-old, and already lost his father. So the 6-year-old doesn't have a mom or a dad at this point. I'm now left to raise our son and to continue teaching him, as Renee believed that there are people building a better world for him, that the people who did this had fear and anger in their hearts, and we need to show them a better way. We thank you for the privacy you are granting our family as we grieve. We thank you for ensuring that Renee's legacy is one of kindness and love. We honor her memory by living her values, rejecting hate, and choosing compassion, turning away from fear and pursuing peace, refusing division, and knowing we must come together to build a world where we all come home safe to the people we love. So this is words from her wife, Renee's wife. So this is sad. This is very sad. Okay, it's really sad. Like I said, we living in some very messed up times. Again, people complained about Sleepy Joe, and Joe was asleep. I mean, he looked like he was asleep, but at least we were safe. At least we were safe. We were safe. It just, y'all got to be careful out there. You got to be careful out there because we have a president, he's a felon with a lot of felonies. That's how I describe it. Because usually if you say a felon is somebody with one felony, he has multiple felonies. Okay. We have a felon president who was, protecting a man who did some very nasty things to children. And unfortunately, y'all, we got to pray. We got to pray. We got to be careful. If you guys are going out there to protest, make sure you are safe. Okay. Just make sure you are safe. No, Donald Trump don't like Black people. He don't like Mexican people either. And if you ain't figured that out, that's your problem. And get the hell out of here. You're banned. Okay. This is not for stupid people. I'm not going to explain to you who Donald Trump is if you don't already understand. That is your slow self. Okay. If you think Donald Trump likes minorities, that's your problem. Go read ABC 1, 2, 3. Okay. So what else we got on this agenda? Give me a second here. Checking my notes. Let's see. I think I pretty much covered everything. Let's make sure. Let me make sure. I think I've covered everything, but all right, just give me a second. I just got to pull up one other thing. Okay, guys, thank you for your patience. Okay, I have it up here. So, again, I am a person that I don't give a damn who you vote for. At the end of the day, if you voted for Trump, I hope you have a whole lot of money. Because if not, I know your ass is right now suffering a little bit or another. But let's get into what Megyn Kelly said. She is a huge race baiter. That's pretty much all she does on her show. She's a piece of SHITT. Okay, so let's get into what Megyn Kelly, pale face ass, had to say. Of course, she's spewing that MAGA bullshit. Okay, so let's get into what this hoe had to say. Okay.
Effing minds. They've lost. The mainstream have lost their effing minds. They've lost their minds about this. The local authorities in Minnesota and Minneapolis are gone. They're too far gone to be reasoned with. They're going to get an ICE agent killed. That's what's going to happen. They're not going to be happy until an ICE agent is dead. I realize a woman died yesterday. I'm sorry, but that was her own doing. Who among us would not?
This bitch gets on my nerves. If I could slap her, I would. You're blaming the woman for her own death as she was pulling off, which, I mean, she was told to leave. I guess eventually she decided, okay, let me get up out of here. But the moment she does what she was told to do, she's unalived. And this piece of SHIT gets on here and blames the woman because she's a Democrat.
Understand that if we did not respond to law enforcement surrounding our car, telling us to get out, we were endangering ourselves. Who among us would expect to live if we pressed the accelerator with a cop in front of our SUV? Like, that's what she did.
Well, I'm glad you said that, pale face, because the officer was only supposed to do what he did if he was in harm's way. Why are you in front? First of all, he was already in front of the lady's car with a pum pointed at her, which I did not understand. I feel like he was going to do it anyway because I didn't even understand that. If you watch the video, she's not even aggressive. Like, most people would have been going off. She was talking nice. She was, in so many ways, she was kind. Like, she was really talking nice. I actually had to go back and watch the videos because I'm like, what really happened here? She was really talking in a nice manner. Now, the other lady, who I believe is her girlfriend or her wife, she seemed to be a little bit combative. They were going back and forth, but that lady wasn't in the car. So I'm just not understanding why all of the, actions was directed at somebody who actually had nothing to do with it. But of course, this race baiting hoe, Megyn Kelly, a devout, dumb Trump supporter, pale face hoe, is blaming the victim.
Everyone would know you are putting your own life in danger. There's so much to get to. There is a stunning development that just happened in this story that we, I believe exclusively, just confirmed. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem mentioned in media interviews yesterday that the ICE agent who shot the driver in Minneapolis was involved. He was involved in a prior incident last June that was very similar to what happened yesterday. Well, we now have the video of that incident, and we've confirmed with the government that this is the relevant video that Kristi Noem was referencing. This is video.
Well, I did touch on that in the beginning of my live. Now, what I want y'all to understand is the fact that he was involved in another situation. I'm not sure how this ties to this, other than, I mean, he could have, I don't know, had some kind of trauma connected to it, but Listen, if somebody ran me over before, one thing I probably won't be doing is going by a car with another person in it as if they were going to leave. So it seemed like his dumbass being drugged before, he didn't learn a lesson because you put yourself in front of another car, which again, we have common sense. The wheels, I mean, even if you are, laying on a car, you kind of can tell the way in the direction of the wheels. So you can, the wheels were not aimed at him, but her saying that he was in a prior incident, I really don't know how it ties to what happened with Renee.
Of the incident she was referencing involving this same officer. He was dragged during an ICE arrest just this past June and got seriously injured. This same guy, this poor ICE agent. Per the Department of Justice, on June 17th, 2025, law enforcement officers attempted to arrest Roberto Carlos Munoz Guatemala, a convicted sex offender, on an immigration order. By the way, this is what ICE officers are trying to do. This is the terrible work that these lunatics are out there protesting against. They'd rather have Mr. Guatemala.
Okay. How does this have anything to do with what is currently going on with Renee? This BITCH goes on a tangent, and the information that she's bringing up, she's referencing this guy. He has nothing to do with what happened to Renee. Again, one thing these MAGA people do is they run shit together. The fact that this officer got ran over by somebody else, what the hell does it have to do with Renee? So I guess if you're traumatized, then you could just go unalive somebody then because you was traumatized before. Make it make sense. Tell me, where is the connection to what happened to Renee? She's going in as if this officer was victimized. Sir, you should have took off work. You should have healed. You should have got counseling. What you did just simply was not justified. And that's just, I mean, it is what it is.
Law have access to their children, I guess, because this agent that they're now demonizing as a murderer was the one who stopped him, along with his fellow ICE agents. The guy was uncooperative. He refused to follow instructions. After warning him several times, an agent, who is the same agent involved in yesterday's shooting, broke the back window of the suspect's car so that he could open the vehicle from the inside. The man then accelerated his.
I'm sorry, but I'm reading between the lines. I see a pattern of this ICE officer.
Car, you can see it's the same.
Seems to be a bit destructive. It seems like he is involved in a lot of incidences that involve him getting into these situations with various people. So I know, the idea is to paint this guy as a victim. But listen, I know a lot of police officers. Some of my best friends are police officers, and they tell me stories. And one of my good friends told me, a lot of times it is how you approach the situation. Okay. It is how you approach. A lot of times you can do your business and get out of there if you just give the person mutual respect. Why the hell are you busting out folks' windows and doing all of that? You're bringing this up on yourself, okay? That's just what I'm saying. But y'all let me know what y'all think.
Same agent. The guy had a mask on yesterday, but same hair. As he sped away, the agent's arm became trapped between the seat and the car frame. You can't see the agent in this video we're showing, but we are showing the car rushing away from the scene. The agent is on the driver's side toward the back, so you cannot see him being dragged, but he's being dragged, and that's undisputed, for more than 100 yards, while the maniac driving the car is weaving back and forth in an attempt to shake him from the car, completely immune to the thought of running over him or what other damage he was causing. The agent was eventually jarred free from the car, but suffered significant injuries to his arms and hands. Look at this. If you're only listening to this, you've got to go and check out our YouTube at 3 minutes after the hour. His arm looks mutilated. It's a shot of him in his hospital bed where you can't see his head, but you can see his arms and his legs. And that arm.
I'm going to keep saying. Okay, so I'm not sure how this ties into what has happened to Renee. Megyn Race Bader Kelly is showing us a picture of the officer that unalived Renee in a hospital bed from another incident. What the hell does this have to do with him unaliving her? Again, we are just running a bunch of shit together. I believe when he signed up as an ICE officer and got those $10,000 and $20,000 bonuses, he probably knew that some things like this were going to happen. But unfortunately, I see it a bit different. I feel like this officer is probably a problem, simply that he keeps getting into it with these different ass people. But unfortunately, instead of Megyn giving us some content that actually makes sense, she wants us to feel sorry for him. And I'm just simply not falling for it. I'm not falling for it.
Clearly shows the damage of what he had just been through. Okay, this is incredibly relevant to what this guy's perception of the danger was. Now, we'll get into the legal standard, which is more of whether it was objectively reasonable for him to think this woman was going to run over him. But that incident will play into whether it was objectively reasonable. Other ICE agents and other cops have been watching this happen time after time. It's happened over 100 times that ICE agents have been charged, rammed, or dragged by so-called watchers. They're calling her like an observer. You know, like we just have eyes on the.
Yeah. Again, this is no information with regards to what happened to Renee. I mean, the fact that ICE officers have been dragged, yada yada. What does that have to do with this case? I mean, she's just rambling, running her pale ass mouth with no facts. I mean, she's not saying anything other than how many times have ICE? It just doesn't matter. You have to treat each situation as that situation. In this case, the woman was clearly going in another direction. And let's get into this, okay? Why was the woman shot multiple times? I mean, it wasn't like one time, multiple times in her face.
You were much more than an observer, madam. These guys are putting their lives on the line every day to arrest people like Mr. Guatemala, who was molesting kids. That's what they're doing there. That's what Mayor Jacob Fry appears to object to, not to mention Governor Tim Walz. What a shock. Okay, now we're going to walk you through the key videos from yesterday showing what happened in detail. That video we brought to you yesterday at the end of our show was ultimately the video that President Trump tweeted out as well. It is critical. So many of the people who jumped down the throats of these cops didn't see it or ignored it because it was inconvenient to show her actually accelerating into the cop who shot her. But it's all there on tape. We'll begin with the moments leading up to the shooting. Currently, there are no videos we've seen showing what happened leading up to the incident. But there is a witness account that 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good, she's the one who was shot, Renee Good, was blocking traffic, hoping to impede ICE investigations. That's what she was.
Okay. Okay. She was blocking traffic. So freaking what? I mean, blocking traffic, unfortunately, is not a death sentence. So if she was blocking traffic, so what? I mean, if she's blocking traffic, you could take her to jail. I mean, you could actually call local police to come out there and arrest her. So don't tell me that she was blocking traffic as if that is the reasoning behind what happened to her. This bitch Megyn Kelly is a sick person.
Doing there. All right. Her wife has admitted it. Democrats are calling her, as I pointed out, a quote, legal observer. Wrong. What's been reported so far about her background makes clear she was there to agitate, and her actual job had nothing to do with the law. She was a poet.
I woke up to some commotion. I heard some whistles going on out front, so I came downstairs to see what was going on. Wasn't even dressed. And there was a car, the Honda Pilot that's crashed over there now. There was a car blocking the 2 lanes of Portland traffic. And the ICE agents got out and they were saying, "Get out of here, get out of here." She was the main car leading the protest, is my understanding. I talked to another guy who was driving behind her, but she was very successful in blocking traffic. She was doing what she was set out to do, and so they wanted to get her the hell out of there.
Oh, okay. Okay, girl. We get it now. So thank you for that. So, okay, we wanted to just unalive her because she was blocking traffic. We don't care if she was blocking traffic. People break the law all the time. That's why they got the police, okay? We don't just unalive somebody because they're breaking the law. Because if that was the case, then we wouldn't need the jails. We just start, pow-powing people. Okay, you stole that, pow-pow. Girl, we don't give a damn that this woman was blocking traffic, okay? She did not deserve to be unalive. So it seems like, and this is something that I kind of gathered from doing light research on this, it seemed like they was mad at what she was doing, and they intentionally, I feel like they was going to unalive this lady either way, because the officer had the pow pointed at her face. That's probably why she drove the hell off. Imagine somebody with something in your face like this. Like, what do you do? Like, what do you do? You know what I mean? So the fact that the lady drove off, so like, I don't understand why this even matters.
Yeah.
So it looked like she was impeding ICE vehicles.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
That was her goal.
This is a sympathetic witness to her. The clip goes on. She's very angry at ICE. If anything, this woman had a reason to lie to make the woman driving the car, Renee Good, sound better. But there she is on camera saying, very clearly that this woman who was ultimately shot was leading the protests and impeding the traffic across this Portland Avenue, that she was parked perpendicular to the traffic. Now that'll get you arrested pretty much 10 times out of 10. So this is not a fan of ICE, and clearly her eyewitness testimonial is not favorable to Ms. Good. In this still image, you see a federal agent who we believe is the agent who eventually fires at Ms. Good. The agent is being followed closely by a female protester. She has identified herself as Renee Good's wife. She has her phone up, likely recording him. The agent also has a phone in his hand.
Oh, I'm glad. Let's get into that since she brought that up. A person whose life is in danger is recording on his phone, y'all. Did you hear that? Your life is in danger, so you think your life is in danger, but yet you're recording. I think that would be the last thing that you would do. And also, how is this officer, who is an ICE agent, who's on a federal, whatever, they get a list of names of whoever they got to go kick your door in, snatch you out your bed. So why would he be recording anyways? Wouldn't that be compromising the investigation? These people are doing whatever the hell they want to do, and then they making up the rules as they go along. Because if my life is in danger, what the hell am I recording for? I need to be making sure I can make it the hell up out of here. So, everything that these people are saying is just not true.
Likely recording her. Did the agent have a negative interaction with these women that caused him to begin recording too? We don't know yet. But clearly something was going on before, and it wasn't needlepoint. We have not yet seen the actual video that was on the cop's phone. But here's video we do have of that moment and what happened afterward. Again, they both appear to be recording each other's actions. You see a gray truck pull up. We talked about that yesterday. Two federal agents.
Okay, let's talk about it. Somebody said in the chat, if she would have simply gotten out of the car, she would still be alive. Facts. I don't know what FAX mean unless you're trying to fax me something, but that ain't how you spell facts. But I think you saying FACTS. So I don't know. I mean, there's a list of people that has been unalived by ICE. Judging from the pistol in her face as she sat in the car, I don't know, because There is a rule as to how you arrest somebody, and pulling a pow and aiming it in their face, that's not following any type of law or anything with regards to arresting a person. If you guys watch the full video, they were not telling her to get out of the car. In fact, she was having a conversation with them. At some point, they probably did tell her to get out of the car. But let's just be fair, because you don't get out of the car, you die. Like, come on now. That's just not, the way that, that's not how we operate. Well, that's not how we're supposed to operate here in the United States.
Step out. The driver of the maroon SUV, Ms. Good, says, "What's going on?" The officers quickly walk up and tell Ms. Good to get out of the car, and then to, quote, "get out of the fucking car." Things are escalating. Good's window is down. She's looking directly at them. There is no way she did not hear the commands to get out of her car, repeated commands. She then puts her car into reverse. And here is the part of the video with sound of the agents making the commands and her beginning to reverse.
I don't know, y'all. Let's just be honest. Whatever command, obviously, the police give you, you're supposed to follow it. Now, I'm not saying just don't obey, what is, going on. That's, you're supposed to follow, even if it's some dumbass shit, okay? You're supposed to file a complaint later. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not saying that she shouldn't have followed whatever rules, but I don't know what I would do if somebody is aiming a gun in my face. So I don't know. But at the end of the day, she didn't follow the order, whatever she was told to do. Get out of the car. We wasn't there. We don't know exactly verbatim what she was told or how she was told. But what I do know is the police should only use deadly force when they feel like their lives are in danger. You videotaping me does not really show, or it don't show, that your life is in danger. So something about this just doesn't add up. Now, if you watch the videos, there's a video, it's like 4 minutes. But the pattern that it seems to paint is that she was there. She was following them for some reason. And then what they're saying is that they were monitoring ICE. And if you guys have watched the videos where ICE is going to these different states, there are people monitoring. They are recording. They're doing all sorts of things. So it seems like that is what she was doing. Did she deserve to die is the question. Now, if you think she deserved to die because she didn't follow orders, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but I'll see y'all back here at 5:30 p.m. Talk to